She's a real person. Yes, she is. Today is gonna be kind of like a fun chatting stream. So essentially, I'm gonna take you through my lore kind of as a person, as well as where Obronphinx came from, and where she is today. And from there, I'm gonna debut my new model. So it's gonna be a lot of like storytelling, a lot of reading, and just a really cool like little history lesson. All right. So without further ado, there she is. There it is. I made a little joke at one point. The little character, oh, you can't see my cursor. Well, the little character to the top left, she looks kind of familiar, right? But you don't know her. Of course, there's me on the right-hand side in literal cosplay. And then just like different variations of this character that I built back in the day, but you'll get some more info very shortly. And we're going all the way back to 2013. Y'all remember 2013? Do y'all remember that year? What a year to be alive. I remember. So listen, this all stems from Minecraft. We all know and love Minecraft, right? I was just an infant, simply an infant. So we're going back to my middle school days, back when I was like 12, 13 years old. So I was introduced to Minecraft at the ripe age of 12, 13. I was in 8th grade. At that point in my life, I was getting pretty serious about my artistry, if you will. You know, I was watching a lot of anime. I was doing like, I wasn't like tracing or anything, but I was like kind of replicating like screenshots from anime that I would watch. I loved like Soul Eater, Full Metal Alchemist. I'm sure there were a few others I can't think of currently. But essentially, you know, I was getting into that, and I had friends at the time who were like, wanna play Minecraft? And I'm like, what's Minecraft? And that was the start of something beautiful. I got the game, tried to think of like a really cool name, because I did like kind of venture into like YouTube, even though I was young. Like honestly, if I had a kid, I'd be like, you ain't watching no YouTube until you're like 16 years old, because people are crazy, but whatever. Anyways, so I was watching some Minecraft YouTubers, and like there were like a few that had like very unique names, and I was like, I want to be that, and I want it to be kind of artsy, and I want that to be like my brand. My 13-year-old ass, I'm like, I want that to be my brand. So Obronphinx was born. Next slide. Thank you. Next slide. My art journey. So 2014 kind of rolls around, you know, getting ready for high school. I was creating more art and wanted to share it with others. Like I said before, I was watching a lot of like Minecraft YouTubers and wanted to connect with the community in some way. And I found that Twitter at the time was very popular, and it was a great way to connect with other artists and people who had similar interests as you. And the interface seemed very easy to learn, so, you know, I was like, why not? I want to post my art. Fun fact, my parents did not let me have social media, so I had to ask permission to get Twitter, as it should be, in my opinion. And that's when I continued to use the username Obronphinx, just to keep everything consistent, everything in brand, as I was saying before. I followed a lot of art accounts, which like inspire my artwork today, and reflect the artist that I am today. As years went by, I opened and closed other social media accounts to share my art, you know, like DeviantArt, and like I had a Tumblr at one point. Right, it was like I was just trying to, you know, hit those different points. But as of right now, Twitter and Instagram was like I deleted all my other accounts, and Twitter and Instagram are like my only ones. As of 2025, however, I privated my old Twitter account, which I kept all my art from 2014 to like end of 2015-ish, beginning of 2015. I archived. Because I'm like, Twitter's so toxic. I did make a Twitter for streaming, but I really don't care for it. And I'm sure we all know why. I'm gonna say less. I'm gonna say less. So now we're gonna do some filler content. We're gonna fast forward 2015 to 2019. We're gonna speed through real quick. So high school, you know, continued my art journey, made connections with artists through Twitter and other apps. I began my theater education. I am a theater girly. This is kind of where I thrived outside of like my artistry. So I'm super passionate about theater, and I was at the time, back in like 2014, 2015, and that's what I wanted to go to college for. In my gaming history at this point, beyond Minecraft, like I found other games that I could play with my friends. Skype was really big, like in the like 2013, 2015, like kind of time span. So I was always like hanging out and, you know, doing multiplayer games on there. And that was kind of like the gist of high school. Graduated high school, went to college for musical theater. There I found my BFFs for life. You know who you are. My art journey began to kind of slow down during my college years because being a theater student, you're going to multiple theater classes, not to mention like you have to take like basic math classes, like you have to pick like you can't just be doing theater classes in college, like you need to fill in those other gaps as well. But in those multiple theater classes, you need to memorize things in like a matter of days and go into class like you know it like the back of your damn hand. Like I had no time to sit down and like doodle and do anything like that. Like I didn't find the passion that I used to have, and like I didn't have the creativity for my physical artwork. It was more of just like I was putting all my artistry into theater. So that's kind of where we were at. But then I was introduced to something, and that would be Dungeons and Dragons. So, for those of you who don't know what Dungeons and Dragons is, it's a tabletop fantasy game, and it's like a role-playing game as well. There are rules, there are mechanics to it, but you can also kind of make it your own, which is the thing that really had me like gravitated me towards D&D. My friend David actually introduced it to me, who some of you guys have seen on stream. We played like Fortnite and all that good stuff. So first semester of sophomore year, he introduced that to myself and some of our other friends at the time. And this kind of jump-started my art journey again. Like I felt the creativity coming back, because you literally just make an original character, you give them a backstory, and the DM or the dungeon master literally just rolls with it. Like it's so freaking cool. I'm like, this is literally theater, but like I don't know, like we make the character, like we're writing the play. You know what I mean? It was just so cool to me. It was so cool. So with that, you know, I started creating original characters through these campaigns, and that's when Zill was born. So y'all are probably like, who the fuck is this bitch? Who is this? Well, her name is Zill. If she looks familiar, that's very fair. This is kind of the start of where we are now. So before the vid took over, you know what the vid is. We finished our first Dungeons and Dragons campaign. I created a character I'm not going to get into because he's irrelevant. And then we began developing our next campaign. That means I had to, you know, make a new character. So Zill was born. I do have her backstory, which I am gonna read shortly, but unfortunately the campaign didn't really go anywhere because like we maybe played 3 sessions, which sessions, like they have to be multiple hours, otherwise like you don't go anywhere. There was also a really big group, so we didn't get anywhere. Unfortunately, and the vid took over, so we didn't revisit the campaign after that because it had just been so long, and we didn't have the capabilities at the time to like do it online. And well, we did, but we didn't know how to make it work. So it was a really hard time. But I'm gonna read you guys Zill's backstory really quick, because you're gonna hear another story that's gonna be like the official lore, but I want you guys to kind of like see how it all kind of meshes together. Before Zill was born, let me take you through the story of her parents. Also, I wrote this in like years ago. So if it sounds crazy, it's because I haven't like spell check or anything. So let's take you through the story of her parents. Marie Gould, Zill's mother, was a human living in the land of Norm. Norm was a quiet little village primarily populated by humans and very few elves. Surrounded by this village was nothing but trees and thickly settled forests, making this area very difficult to find. The village never had any issues. Everybody seemed to get along and mind their own business, and because of the lack of visitors, there were never any outside conflicts. Marie was a seamstress, living in a little cottage by herself in the center of town. Everybody loved Marie. She was the most beautiful woman in the village, and many men, both human and elvish, tried to win over her heart, but to no avail. Marie knew that there was something else out there for her, but she would have to be patient. When she sees him, she will know he is the one. On one fateful day, Norm received a visitor for the first time in ages. 2 black horses entered carrying a black and red chariot covered in gold trim. Guards walked beside it carrying spears and dressed in golden armor, to the point where it was hard to tell what species they were. The chariot made its way to the center of town, while the villagers of Norm kept calm and watched intensely at it. Once the chariot parked in the center of town, Norm's eldest elf, Welsh, stepped forward to warmly welcome the visitors. The chariot doors opened, and an extremely small tiefling exits with a scroll and a monocle. He approaches Welsh, opening the scroll and reading the transcript inside of it. Attention Norm villagers, we are tieflings residing in the depths of hell and have been watching under your village. We've been watching under your village carefully for decades. Lucifer, our king, has identified a woman in your village that has grasped his attention. Wooga. It is in your best interest that you give up Marie Gould to our king, so she can live as queen in the depths of hell. Deny our wishes in your village and everyone in it will be perished. The gall. The villagers were shocked by this request. Marie listened from the window of her cottage, began to grow scared, but with all the courage she could muster up instantly at that moment, she stepped out of her cottage. I request to see Lucifer before I'm on my way. Welsh begged Marie to go back into her home, but she refused. The small tiefling opened the door, signaling someone to come out. In the wink of an eye, Lucifer exits the chariot, presenting himself to Marie and the entire village. Just like that, Marie knew that this was fate, and Lucifer was the man she had been waiting for. Wow, wooga! Before entering the chariot, Marie had one request. If I go with you, will you protect this village along with everyone in it, with all of your might, no matter what? Lucifer agreed, and Marie entered the chariot. She made a deal with the devil. Marie and Lucifer were arranged to be married immediately upon arrival to hell. With the very little amount of time they had together before the wedding, they instantly fell in love. Their wedding was big and beautiful. Everybody in hell attended and celebrated. A month went by, and Marie announced that she is pregnant. No, I'm kidding. Lucifer is extremely pleased and ready to take on this next step into their marriage. However, Lucifer expresses to Marie that if their child does not gain the features of a tiefling, the baby would be killed. Marie was not worried about this, since she had like dark eyes, dark hair, but as a safety precaution, each month Lucifer required Marie to drink an amethyst potion. This potion would give the couple and baby good luck as well as good health, resulting in the baby's features to match a tiefling's. 9 months have gone by, and it's giving Wicked. It's giving Wicked. It's literally think about it. It's literally giving Wicked. 9 months have gone by, and a baby girl was born. They named her Zill. She was a beautiful baby with pinkish red skin, a little tail that would slowly grow, deep purple eyes, and little bumps on her head that would soon result in horns. The last feature that Lucifer was looking for was her hair color. This would take at most a year to find out, so the couple eagerly waited and hoped that the potion did its job. Once they hit the 6-month mark, Zill's hair began to slowly grow out in a blonde hue. This began to worry the couple, but Lucifer promised to give till the 1-year mark. Unfortunately, when the 1-year wait was over, Zill's hair did not change its blonde color. Lucifer, with a heavy heart, had to arrange Zill's death for all of hell to see, and Marie would have to try to make a child again. Marie was not accepting of this. She loved Zill and could not bear to end her life. She wanted her to experience life as she did. So she asked Lucifer for one more request. Kill me instead and exile Zill from hell. She can be sent back to Norm, where she will be protected as you promised me when we first met. Please do this for me. I will not be able to live with myself if we kill her. Lucifer had a hard time accepting her request, but eventually, after Marie's begging, he gave in. The ceremony was about to begin. Marie and Lucifer said their final goodbyes, and Marie was killed in a pit of fire. Then Zil was exiled from hell, but since she was still a baby and could not walk out herself, Lucifer sacrificed a piece of her so she could be transported back to the world above. He removed and sacrificed her left eye and sealed the wound with a magical spell so she could still see out of it and not suffer. In Norm, a beam of purple light shined from the ground in the center of the village, revealing Zil wrapped in a blanket with only a gold necklace with her name engraved in it. Welsh, along with the majority of the villagers, circled around Zil and took her in to take care of her. Many years later, Welsh passed away, and the village of Norm began to go in ruins. Poverty struck, and 10-year-old Zil had to take care of herself. Zil would beg for food, money, anything she could get her hands on to survive. Sometimes she would go into the woods and kill whatever small animal she could so she could have a sufficient meal. She resided in Norm until she turned 14 years old and began traveling, and that's where her true story begins. So from there, we started the campaign, and that was Zil's story. Very much giving Wicked a little bit. Just a little bit. So yeah, we started the campaign from there. I gave that to the DM, and you know, throughout, as you could see on the right hand side, the like little bracelet that was like her necklace. So like, I did a little something there. She was, living in poverty. But at this point she was like 14 or 15 years old. So I wanted her to kind of grow up and have more to her as a character, have some character building. So that's Zil. This is where it all kind of starts for the most part. We're gonna get some more filler from 2020 to 2024. So I had to do theater school from home, as I said before. With all the free time on my hands, I was able to do more art and play more games. Unfortunately, D&D was not one of those games. Eventually, we all went back on campus my second semester of junior year. However, if you were in a certain like house or like a dorm, you couldn't go to like any of the other houses. Like it was very strict rules, which really stunk, but at the end of the day, they were doing what they could to keep us all safe. And then eventually, senior year rolls around. Life was a little more normal, but there were still strict vid rules, we're gonna say, and restrictions. So thankfully we were able to put on theatrical productions though both semesters of senior year. I literally lost like almost 2 years worth of shows. Like it was awful. But that's okay, we're here. So at this time, I was mentally not well. I lost a lot of weight at that time. And I just didn't feel like anything was like fulfilling me. But eventually I graduated in 2022 with my bachelor's in the arts with a concentration in musical theater. When I went back home, I secured a remote job, which I still have to this day, and the world eventually got, normal again, which was really cool. And then we're gonna fast forward to the Renaissance Fair and just this adaptation of Zil. So around this time, D&D began to slowly kind of come back into my life. I got back together very regularly with friends that I went to college with, that I played D&D with, especially. So we developed a new campaign, and during those sessions, we were chatting about like Renaissance fairs. We're like, oh, it just looks like so much fun. And you know how like the algorithm works? Like you talk about like D&D or like role playing in the Renaissance Fair, and then you go on your TikTok and it's literally all Renaissance Fair videos. So we were like, oh my god, we want to go. I knew I wanted to dress up as Zil because I was like, I love tieflings. I think they're so cool. I want to paint myself. I think that's fun. Like, let me paint myself red and just have a good time, right? So in 2023, I decided to kind of test my makeup skills at a birthday party, and it was a success. So I was like, okay, I know what I need to do for it to hold for the day. I know how I can update my outfit so that it works for the outdoors. The following year, 2024, we went to a Renaissance Fair. I got all my outfit pieces on Amazon. So this picture that you're seeing on the left, the like drawing, I found like pieces on Amazon, and then I drew it out on this character to see if it would like make sense and kind of look okay. And then on the left hand side, you can see it. I mean, it's pretty spot on for the most part. I'm not like great at drawing clothes. I'm really not, but I did my best. And it was, it is what it is. It was so much fun. Like the amount of people that stopped me and was like, can I take a picture of you? I'm like, of me? You don't want a picture like with me? Okay. Like it was wild. So It was a lot of fun. In 2025, we went to 2 Ren fairs, and I slowly like kind of updated my outfit. So this isn't even like the final one. Like, it's going to progress as time goes by, which is really cool. And then my streaming journey begins. Did you miss me? Did you miss me? I missed me. I missed me. So this is where we are right now. This is where we are now. So at the end of 2025, after moving with my partner, finally, after 6 years of us being together, we finally moved in together. I put down some money on a chonky PC because I've literally been using like the worst laptop of all time this entire time. So I was like, I want to stream. I think it would be fun. I love VTubers. I'm like, I know I want to incorporate these things together. So 2026 would be the year I start streaming. Like I said before, it's something I've always wanted to do, but I just never had the time, materials, or means to do it. But now I do. I already had a following on TikTok. Hi, TikTok. But I didn't want to show my face all the time. I mean, this is like the first time you guys are seeing my face on Twitch, so hey. I don't know. I want to be like a fun animated character. Like, can I just live my best life, right? That's kind of like where I'm at. So the best route for me to go was VTubing or PNG tubing to start, which is my little guy right here. And that's where I adapted my old Minecraft username and past D&D character to who she is today, Obronphinx. So, you know, starting from Minecraft with just the name Obronphinx, my art journey, the character Zill that we read through and that you guys got to take a look at, to adapting her to where I can literally cosplay as her, but adapt her to me and like who I am personally as a person. But also still adding the, you know, fantasy elements to it, which is really cool. So the future, 2026 and beyond. So I have to say, streaming has been absolutely amazing so far. I've met a lot of amazing people who are in this chat today. I've only been streaming for like 3 or 4 months. Like, this will be the 4th month, I believe. I feel very blessed. Hashtag blessed. So here is the story of Obronphinx. Once upon a time, in the nine hells, the mainlands, and the celestial beings all lived in harmony. Training was prosperous, individuals could travel between planes peacefully and with ease, and there was balance. This was how the world was before the divide. One fateful day, a catastrophic event tore each plane apart. Volcanoes erupted and meteors began to hit the mainlands. The 9 hells experienced a horrible earthquake, their homes collapsing as lava rose. The celestial plane was struck with shooting stars that burned everything, falling into the planes below. Individuals across all realms lost their lives, homes, families, and so much more. Each plane began to grow suspicious of the others. Trust was no longer something any of them could feel. Leaders from each plane Leaders from each plane met on the mainlands to discuss what came next. They all agreed that completely cutting ties would only make things worse. They still relied on each other for supplies and resources, so they came to an agreement. On the day of the divide, once a year, they would meet to discuss the trade and the year ahead. The suspense, it's crazy. However, outside of that one meeting, everyone must remain in their respective planes. Only select individuals were allowed to attend this meeting, and no one else could cross over. If they did, it would mean war. Almost a year after the divide, Obronphinx was born in the 9th hell. She was conceived by her mother Allura, the heir to the Asmodean throne. Obronphinx had red skin, heterochromia, which was rare for tieflings, and dark brown hair. Her father was a mystery, but no one pressured Allura about it. Life continued as normal. 2 years after her birth, her mother married King Adreus and was crowned Queen of Asmodee, making Obronphinx a princess. Hee hee. Growing up, Obronphinx believed King Adreus was her biological father. She spent her days roaming the palace halls, playing with butlers and maids, and growing into a curious and kind young girl. At 13, she began to notice strange magical events happening around her. As she ran through the halls, she would find herself chasing glimmers of light. In class, her paper would lift as she raised her hand. She even played small tricks on the staff, tipping over buckets of water while they cleaned. She didn't understand what this magic was, but over time, and with practice, she realized she was getting stronger. At 17, her father fell very ill and eventually became bedridden. Knowing he didn't have much time left, he told Obronphinx the truth. He was not her biological father, but he loved her as if she were his own. She didn't know how to feel. There was a sense of betrayal, but she also knew he truly loved and cared for her. She didn't blame him or her mother, but she couldn't stop wondering who her real father was and if he was still alive. Shortly before her 18th birthday, King Adreus passed. He gave his power to Allura and declared Obronphinx the official heir to the throne. Not long after, the annual Divide meeting approached. With everything happening, Obronphinx could see how much pressure her mother was under. Wanting to help, she offered to go with her in her father's place. She was of age after all. Her mother hesitated, but eventually agreed. When the day came, they traveled to the mainlands. The meeting was held in a grand castle at its center. Representatives from each plane gathered in a large hall and began discussing the year ahead. During a break, Obronphinx found herself wandering the palace halls. The walls were lined with stained glass and doors leading to other rooms, and one door was slightly open and flickering light spilled through the cracks. Curious, she approached and saw a figure hunched over a desk, attempting to cast a magic spell. She tried to quietly enter the door, but it creaked, startling the man. When he turned, Obronphinx saw an older elf, clearly stressed. But when he noticed her curiosity, he softened and invited her in. He explained he was trying to conjure a familiar, but was struggling. As he kept trying, Obronphinx raised her hand over the materials. A shimmering mist formed, opening into a small portal. The man stared in amazement. A small paw reached through, then came out a Boston Terrier-like creature with patchy scales and small horns, like a mix between a dog, fish, and a baby deer. The creature jumped into her arms and immediately bonded with her. She named her Petunia. Pootie in the chat. Pootie in the chat. Everybody put the Pootie in the chat.
I'm gonna lick my butthole and lick your lips.
That's my baby. Not long after, Obronphinx heard her mother calling her name. She froze. Her mother didn't know about her magic, and she wanted to keep it that way. There was no one like her back home. What would her mother think? She tried to hide by closing the door, but the noise of it shutting gave her away. When Allura
I'm
entered,
gonna lick my butthole and lick your lips.
Yes. When Allura entered, she saw Obronphinx, the creature, and the elf. When she looked at the elf, everything shifted. Allura, he said. Oswald? She replied. Obronphinx looked between them, already starting to understand, but she still asked, "You two know each other?" Allura explained that she and Oswald had been close before the Divide, had even been romantic with one another shortly before it happened. Oswald turned to Obronphinx. "How old are you?" 18. His expression changed instantly. He dropped to his knees and embraced her. Allura quickly pulled them apart, explaining that this couldn't work. They couldn't be a family, not in this world. Obronphinx couldn't live in the mainlands, and Oswald couldn't live in the Nine Hells. Crossing between planes would mean war. Hearing this, everything in Obronphinx began to spiral. She had finally found her father, someone who explained a part of who she was, and yet they still couldn't be together. "Well, if I can't live with the both of you, I'm not gonna live with either of you." Holding Petunia tightly, she ran. She ran through the castle, past guards, and out into the wilderness. She didn't know where she was going. Eventually, she reached a dense forest, lost control, fell into a ditch, and passed out. When she woke up, something felt different. She was still in a forest, but it didn't look the same. The air felt full of magic, but it felt safe. As she walked, she found Petunia resting near a tree, watched over by a fairy. The fairy introduced herself as Rael. She explained that this forest has become a safe haven after the Divide, a space where fae and spirits live to protect others, in case war ever broke out again. Rael found Obronphinx injured and brought her there to keep her safe. With nowhere else to go, Obronphinx asked if she could stay until things outside were set right. Rael agreed. It's been 7 years since then. Obronphinx is now 25, and she's built a life for herself in the forest. She discovered a form of advanced technology that allows her to connect with people from the outside world while still staying safe within her safe haven. And that's where Obronphinx is today. And with that, that is our lore. That is our lore. That's our lore. Oh, I'm dancing. Duh, 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 duh. Oh, you can see my Pete's. Oh, my Pete's and my little tail. Oh, my Pete's and my tail. I'm stomping on you bitches. Yes, feets. All right, we're gonna do a full, you know how it is. All right. We'll zoom out a little bit. Pete's. All right, leg action. Okay, legs. Look at the legs. Stomping on the haters. Okay. Look at the nails are done, guys. Don't look at my nails in real life. They ain't looking like this. You know? We got some cute jeans, right? Right. Super cute. Adorable. Yes, legs. Yes, legs. All right, now we're gonna get to the mid. We're gonna get to the mid section, guys. Okay. Listen, nothing much. Not really much going on here. Okay. My wings are flapping though, amongst other things. All right. The hair. Oh, you can see. You see my mouth. The hair, of course, very much giving my hair IRL. Ooh, hello. Bum bum bum. Ba doo 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 doo. Oh, okay, you can see half my face. Do 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 do. And without further ado, guys, hello. Yeah, guys, I've been trying to show this to you guys for so freaking long. Trying to still keep it true to the original character for sure. So we also have some cool. Oh God, my eyes going like. It's also gonna be a learning curve for sure. Do. All right, I think this is a good placement. So we still have the same background vibe, which, you know, hopefully will change in the future. We also have some cool little options, right? So essentially we got like when I'm sad, when I'm really sad. Or if I'm angry, if I'm pissed off at y'all for some reason, you know, if I'm really mad. If I'm in love, if I see my bubby in the chat, you know, if I'm like, oh, my baby's in the chat, my baby, you know, my baby. I can also like mix them up too. If I'm in love and mad and sad, I'm all the things, you know. I also have glasses, because you guys saw me with my glasses. I love my blue light glasses. Oh, this is me when I'm dead inside. It's me when I'm like, bruh. You know what I mean? We also have, what else do we have? Get that out of here. Bald, my favorite. And I think that's it. Bald with glasses. Bald with glasses and sad. Dead inside and bald with glasses. And that's it, guys. That's the debut. So really quick, I just want to give some context on the character model and give appropriate credits, which I will add to my About Me. So this was created by Twin Tails. This is a customizable model created by Twin Tails. She is absolutely incredible. Her art and her rigging skills are literally fucking wild. Like, if you want to find an affordable customizable model to start like I am, I highly recommend looking her up and going to her shop, vgen.co/twintails/shop, and, you know, give her all the support. That's her Twitter, her Twitch, and these are all of the appropriate credits, which again I will add to my About Me page after the stream, because she needs to be credited appropriately, period. Yeah, so the future continued. So I have a Discord server already. When I made this, I was like, oh, I don't have the Discord yet. But there it is. If you want to join, there's like a little approval process that has to go through. I want to, you know, work on making more commands, figure out bits, donations, points, things like that, so it's more interactive for you guys. Yes, you better sneak in daydreaming, okay? Right. But, you know, I'm not trying to stress myself out too much. I want to do kind of like a, you know, a little drip moment. I also want to do better about like making clips and making content outside of streaming, but you know, that will come with time. I'm a very busy gal. And I haven't got all day. I'd love to collaborate with an artist in the future, like I said before, to fully like customize a model, because I love this model. I essentially like helped put her together, right? But like her outfit, it's giving modern, right? I want to give like robes, like she's also a warlock. I don't know if I mentioned that. She's a magic user, but she's more specifically a warlock. So I'd really like to make her clothes kind of reflect that. I'd love to give her a little wand, because I do have a wand like that I use for the Renaissance fairs and all that cool stuff. And I would eventually like to do streaming full time for sure. More than 2 days a week, 1 to 2 days a week. But you know, I gotta make my shmoney. This is what we have, guys. Thank you for being here.